Morning, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Westies Angling. You're joining me on day 2 of my Northwest Rod race today, where we're trying to tick off as many species off this list as possible in 7 days. The first video saw us at Brookside in Warrington for day 1, targeting catfish and grass carp. Today's video is at High Hayes in Chorley, and we've literally just come from Brookside now. I shot home, took all my specie gear out of the car, chucked all my feeder and coarse fishing gear in, and we're here. As you can tell, the temperature and the weather has took an absolute turn for the worst. We've had a 10 degrees Celsius temperature drop overnight, and it's absolutely lashing it down. Now, my feeling is, and if any of you know anything about fishing, you'll know that sudden temperature drops are absolutely awful. It usually kills the fishing off. I'm hoping it doesn't, but it's an absolute disaster for the rod race. I'm going to be honest with you. Just that 10 degrees Celsius is a lot to drop overnight. And some of the species that we're here targeting at High Hayes today, like crucian, like tench, can be very finicky when it comes to temperature. But we're going to give it a proper bash. I'm going to pull out every trick in my arsenal to try and get some fish on the bank. I'm going to be fishing on float today. I'm going to have the method feeder out. I'm going to be using wafters. I'm going to be using worms, just to try and tick off as many species off this list as possible. And we've got a good chance, I reckon, to get a few on the bank, even though the weather is horrendous. So I've already carted all my stuff. I've opted for the top end, even though there's no wind, which is another thing that kills the fishing at High Hayes. But folks, you know me, I'm up to the challenge. Let's get into the video, let's get the brolly set up and see if we can catch a few fish. Right folks, this is the peg for today. You'll have to excuse me if I go muffly at any point today. It'll mean that I've got a bit of rain in the mic, but it usually clears itself out pretty quick. But I've opted for here because I've had crucian down this margin before. I've had tench over to the aerator pipe, which has just been knocked. I've had ghost carp down here. I've had carp under this tree. I've had hide in this peg. So I think this is our best peg for multi-species. The only thing that I'm not sure that we'll get here is the barbel that are in here. They like to patrol that inner banking down there, but I have had them over to the aerators, so who knows. So I'm going to start off on 2 method feeders on the bite alarm, so I can sit out the way under the shelter, and then I'm going to set my float rod up, take one of the method feeders out and fish float, try and get some hide and roach and stuff like that, because that'll be a few more species that we can get off the list. The one species that I think is going to be a struggle for us on this test, believe it or not, is rudd. I do know a couple of places that have them, but they're a little bit of a drive away. It doesn't really fit in with what I've got planned on the rod race, which is a shame. I like to tick that species off, so I think we're going to have to change a few things around for the rudd. A lot of places have roach in, but there aren't too many places that are stocked with rudd. Look at this, what is my luck? Absolutely the only person on the entire complex, because everybody's thought, no, I'm giving it a miss. And I've got my rod race. Right, so I've got my brolly set up and my chair there. I need to get my rods together. I've just mixed up some pellets, and I just wanted to show you what I'm using today. I'm using a mix of my sherbet and garlic liver pellets. As you can see that, not a 50-50 mix, that's a 75-25. There's only 25% of the halibut pellets in there, because I want it to be fairly low feed. And I'm going to sprinkle that with some Hinder's beetling extract, which is strong stuff, so we don't need much. This is just going to give it a mega boost, like ridiculous. The smell coming off that powder's just something else. So what baits am I going to be using today? Well, I've got some corn with me and worms for the float. I've got some liquids, because I think liquids are going to be our friend today. So I've got some Cocoscope, and I've also got some of my new potent spicy sausage and bloodworm there. I think they're going to be killer. So the wafters that I'm going to be using today are my own brand. So I'm going to be using spicy sausage, and I'm going to be using power pineapple as well. It's getting a bit battered, that one. I've had that tub a while. Let's get this first rod out. I think I'm going to start over by the aerator on this right hand rod, and I had a little bit of a disaster then and a little bit of a panic because I've actually left my method feeder hook lengths in my other feeder fishing bag, the ones that I tie up. But luckily in this bag I carry some Guru emergency ones, so I don't like using these, folks. I don't like using the Guru method feeder hook lengths. I don't think they're very strong at all. I've lost a lot of fish on them, but better than now. So we're starting off on the spicy sausage wafter. I have got some waterproof pants with me as well, which are working well at the moment. They were actually 10 quid off Temu, but they're all right. Right, that's next to the aerator. Drag's okay. And the other one I'm just going to put down here next to this tree where I've baited up once I've got it set up. Oh my god, I'm soaking already. I'll put quite a few pellets out on these first couple of casts. If I'm mumbling and talking rubbish today, folks, it's because I am absolutely shattered. Obviously didn't get any sleep last night because I was getting those infuriating 3 bleeps all night from the cats. So I might have had an hour max. I think I drifted off for an hour. Well, so far I am mega impressed with these for 10 quid. Waterproof and they're lined as well. I had to get a couple sizes bigger than I normally would, but so far a good purchase, I think. I was in bloody shorts yesterday. That's how warm it was yesterday. Got a tan. Not that you can see it now. Absolutely white as a ghost in this rain. So species that we've got a chance of at High Haze, I'm going to rhyme them off, or do my best to rhyme them off. Chub, eyed, bream, crucian, mirror carp, common carp. What else have we got in here? Goldfish, tench, barbel. So that's 10 off the list there. What else is there? F1s. Gosh, roach I think are in here in Lake 3 as well. So that's 11 species. Gudgeon, you know, so there's a lot of species that we can get off that list today. I don't know how long I'm going to be. It's raining, I'm tired, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to stick it out today, but if I can, I need to do a full day here today to give us our best chance of getting as many species as possible. Like I said, I've got my float. Is this our first one? That's a bream bite, but we need bream. We need bream for the list. I'm going to try down this right hand margin because I've had crucian down there before, and tight into the margins where we're going to have our best chance of getting a gudgeon as well. This way of fishing on the method feeders is going to be the best. Oh, I forgot about perch. There's perch in here as well. Some good perch, but we're not bothered about sizes. Just need to get stuff ticked off. It's a nice still calm day today for float fishing, so that's good. That's in our favour. Usually can't float fish at High Haze because it's really high up. You get all the wind here. Well, autumn has come in like an absolute steam train and potentially ruined the rod race. Just left it too late on in the year. I thought we'd have at least another couple of good weeks of weather left before this happened, but dear me. And you can tell when people stop fishing as well. Like, I'm literally the only person here today, and on my YouTube views, as soon as the weather changes from being sunny to being cold and raining, my views just go like that. Absolute nosedive. It's funny to say actually that a lot of people stop fishing at this time of year and their interest just turns to other things. But you know me, folks, I'll fish right the way through winter. Definitely having a week off after the rod race though, because I'm going to be shattered. But yeah, not looking good. Come on, we just need something to get us going. Just scaled down to a size 16 and I've put a 6mm sweet candy wafter on. I'm going to try this under this tree because there might be a couple of eyed lurking under there, and the smaller hide will struggle to take the bigger wafters. So that's the first little change I've made. I don't want to be chopping and changing too much to start with. In hindsight, what I probably should have done today, with us having all this rain this morning, it might have brought the river fish on the feed, so I probably should have gone on the ribble, but I didn't have any natural baits. I've only got like a literal small handful of worms, that's it. Oh, bream, small bream at that. So I wouldn't have been able to get to the tackle shop, and we would have lost a bit of time then, but it probably wouldn't have mattered too much. So that's probably what I should have done. But it's my intention to go to the tackle shop after today's session, pick up some maggots, pick up some worms, ready for targeting some river species. There's plumes of bubbles coming up out there where my feeder is. Must be small bream. I'm probably going to use this rod race as a practice run for next year, and we'll have a proper go at it next year, but I'm already giving up. No, we'll see it through. It's entertaining if nothing else. I think, folks, I might have to get the float rod set up in a minute, and we'll keep one feeder out for the bigger fish, and we'll try and target some silvers, get some of them ticked off the list if we can. Right, big guns are coming out now, folks. Let's go for the original Westies wafters, the 8mm salmon pink on the right hand rod. Again, with these banjos, folks, you don't need a mould at all, just handball them on. Let's drench that in coca scope. It's at this time of year, folks, that liquids really come into their own. And we'll hope for a gudgeon or something small on that one. We're in, folks. What is it? Is it an F1 or a little common? It's an F1. Nice little pale one. It's unhooked itself in the net. Definitely an F1. And that was on the original F1 Sweet salmon pink wafter. Right, let's get that ticked off the list. We'll get it back. We're in, folks, again. Over to the aerator. It's either a bream or a tench. I think it's a bream. Nice bream though, good slab. And another one off the list if we get it in the net. Yes, in the net. My God, that is a good bream. Look at that. They're getting big, the bream here at High Haze. Look at that one. I bet that's coming up to 3.5 pound. Lovely fish. And that was on a pineapple wafter. Look at that. Right, let's tick it off the list and we'll see if we can get another species. I'm hoping for a tench. If the bream are feeding here, usually the tench aren't far behind. Fingers crossed. That's a crack of that. I think that float will do us. Come in down the margin here. Oh no, it's not a crucian. I wanted it to be a crucian. What is it? I think it's a little F1. Thought it was a crucian. Damn it. Oh, actually it's not an F1. So as you can see, it's got barbels, so that's actually a little common. You can see the red coming through in its fin. So let's take common carp off the list, folks. Yeah, it's a little baby common. Awesome. On the little 6mm Sweet candy. Let's get it back down that margin. Gotta hope that nothing big moves into that margin, because it'd just break me on this hook length. It's only a £5 hook length. So that's 3 species today so far. Just getting the old float rod set up. Just tied a hook length there. About 2.5 foot. But obviously we can adjust the float with the float stops if we want to go deeper or shallower. But I'm going to start off shallow, and we can go deeper if we need to. But because we're fishing the method feeder on the bottom, I wanted to fish this technique a bit higher up in the water. So I've got a little size 14 on there. Loop to loop that with my main line. I'm hoping there's no breaks in that float. I don't want it to sink. I could do with a new set of floats, to be quite honest with you. I don't go float fishing that often, so all the floats that I do have are broken in some way, shape or form. So that's looped to looped. It's a self-weighted Dren and Waggler that. I'm just going to start off with a few bulk shot, and then we'll have some shot probably 6" from the hook, but I just want to see how that sits in the water first. It's extremely deep here at High Haze, even in the margins. So, right, so that's sat right up in the water, but we're not far off on the shotting. So if we put a couple of small shot near the hook, I think we'll be right with that. Let's go with 3 size 8s, about 6" from the hook. Yep, margin rod's going, folks. Margin rod. Margin rod. Does it come off? No. Come on, crucian. Crucian, folks. No, it's come off! Oh, I don't know what that was. It was small. Oh, it was fighting like a crucian. Oh, no. Well, if there's one, there's more. I'm going to do a couple of hours on the float, I think, and then get the method feeder back out. That's the plan. I'm going to keep this one down the margin and hope for a crucian or maybe a gudgeon off the bottom. That's a nice piece of worm. Now obviously we could get perch ticked off the list here, potentially. So let's start off with a decent section of worm. Oh! Ooh! We had a bite straight away then. On the worm. It's taking the worm though. Straight under. No messing about. This is a slightly smaller section of worm, this. So I'm going to keep my rod in the hand. I don't know what this is. On the margin method feeder rod. Yes, it's a crucian. I think it's a crucian. It is. Oh. Happy days. It's a beauty as well. That's a challenging species off the list there, folks. Get in. Let's tick it off. Crucian carp. Ironically, I've not done anything on the float yet. I'm persevering for an hide or off, same thing. So what's that so far, folks? We've had a crucian, we've had a common, albeit a tiny one, we've had an F1, and we've had a bream. Multi-species fishing at its finest. The be all and end all would be a gudgeon down this margin. I know they're in here. I've only caught 2, I think. Out of all the times I've fished High Haze, that's all I've caught. 2 gudgeon. But at the same time, I don't really scale down this often. The pink candy wafter doing the trick as well. But like I said, chance of anything really on the worm. Anything that's feeding in the upper waters. There's actually chub in here as well, believe it or not, in High Haze. A handful. Really, it's stocked with loads of species. And they're all thriving as well. Oh, that was a good bite. Oh yeah, it's a better one. What's this? Let's see, is it a roach or is it an hide? I think it's an hide. Well, that is another species off the list. Let's get it back. On the El Wormo. Shows you though, folks, you can still catch in tough conditions. You just need to adapt your tactics a little bit. More chance of me getting a perch or something the closer to that tree I am, I think. Absolutely ideal float fishing conditions here, folks, today. Completely still calm. Glassy almost, which is great for the float, but awful for getting the fish on the feed. It's not even dinner time yet, so we've plenty of time to get a few more on the bank. Oh, what's this? It's an eyed. Now, it can be really hard to distinguish eyed and roach at this size, but I'm going with eyed on this occasion, purely because I don't think it has an orange enough eye to be a roach. Pretty sure that's a small eyed, folks. What we're saying. I'm going to call that an eyed. Again, size does not matter for this challenge. Let's get this second method feeder back out and have a coffee. I'm literally nodding off on the float there. Let's get under this tree. Look at this. Absolute slab of a bream. That's the biggest bream that I've had out of high haze. 100%. Look at this. It's a monster. That, folks, is a really nice bream. Don't mind catching them like that all day. For the size of it though, it fought like an absolute wet sack. But it just shows you that not many other fish are on the feed if they're getting to it. Ages between bites as well. Oh my god. Well, I'm certainly giving these waterproof pants a good test out today. I think they're more water resistant than waterproof, but so far so good. Can't argue for a tenner, can you? Typical Westies angling fishing weather. Pissing it down. Another little skimmer. Let's try a bit further out. Giving up for the small species under that tree. Probably got another couple of hours of fishing left, and then I'm going to call it a day. Nip to the tackle shop, get some natural baits and go home and sleep. Oh my god, it's a goldfish. It's a goldfish. Don't come off, don't come off. It's got it, it's a goldfish. Oh, an instant win. Another species off the list, folks. I'm in a mess. I've just had a bite on the other one. Look at this. What an absolute lump and a cracker. That's actually a proper goldfish. Look at that little football of a goldfish. How amazing. I love it. I think that might just be one of the coolest, best looking fish I've ever caught. Look at that thing. Looks so good from the top. That should be in somebody's fish tank or pond. It's wasted in here. What an absolute beauty. Goldfish off the list, folks. Let's tick it off. Epic. Oh my God, you will not believe this. You would not believe it. If I told you. What is today? It's such a weird day's fishing. Look at that goldfish. Westy's angling, the king of the goldfish. Look at that, another one. That's another beauty. Oh my God. Oh dear me. Well, that's goldfish definitely ticked off the list. Got two kinds there. I was hoping that was a little koi, but I don't think we can pass that off as a koi. I think that's definitely a goldfish. Honestly, just shows you though, folks, that the other fish clearly aren't feeding if they're letting them goldfish get to the feed. I don't know what this is. Ah, it's a mirror. Fully scale mirror. It's one we need. He's got it. That's another nice fish as well. Small, but nice. Yeah, it's a fully plated mirror. Or almost fully plated. Happy days. Look at that beauty. Fully plated mirror. That's a really nice fish. Well, if that fish isn't worth a like and a subscribe, I don't know what is. It's got a little bit of a sore on the back there, so I'm going to stick some carp cur on it. I'll just put it down here in the water for now. That'll just help it heal, folks, that. A few sprays of the carp cur, antiseptic. Fully plated mirror. How many species is that, folks? We'll have to count up, won't we? Like I said, all smaller fish, because the bigger fish just aren't feeding. Could do with a tench. That's the only thing that we could do with catching here. Now, I think. Yeah, we need a tench. I've just been nodding off. What are we on now? Like 36, maybe more hours without any sleep. Can't wait to have a shower and get in bed, because I smell like fish, stink. Been a very grueling 24 hours. Still chucking it down. It's gone really dead after them two goldfish. I don't know what's going on, but I'm happy that we've managed to take a fair few species off the list. I think we've got all the carp species there other than a ghosty, so we need to go somewhere to target a ghosty. I've got oh my God, another F1. No, it's a common, another small common. You can tell the difference between F1s and commons because commons have barbels, F1s don't. That's the main distinguishing feature. A couple of my subscribers messaged me and said, should I be swapping onto ground bait now it's gone cold? I would stick to pellets, folks, as long as you can before swapping onto ground bait, because it's at this time of year that carp will be feeding up for the winter. Now, obviously, it's not been a full-on day today because of that massive temperature drop, but once that settles down, it should be good fishing again. Everything's soaked. Oh my God. It's not even going to have time to dry either. Dear me. What a miserable, horrible day. Look at this peg, it's swamped. Oh, that wind's picked up. You see that big carp in the margin over there? Oh, it's a slab. My God, look at the size of these bream in high haze now. Absolute monsters. Oh my gosh, look at that. That's easily £5, that bream, folks. Easily. Absolute slab. Oh my god, that is a monster of a bream, that, folks. Wow. El Slabo, that. Easy, easy, easy. £5. It's hard to get a scale from on the GoPro. This must be a decent fish. Biggest fish of today, anyway. Not even sure if it's woken up yet. That's a nice common, that. Definitely the biggest fish of today on the original F1 sweep. God, it's only just woken up, I think. Calm down. Oh, it's a long fish, probably not far off a double. I'll probably give it 8.5, £9, something like that. It's lively though, I'm going to get it back. Whew. Awesome. I think, folks, that's probably a good fish to end on. What a miserable, dreary, wet session today's been. But you know what? I've still enjoyed it. But I think we're going to get packed up there and shoot off to the tackle shop, get some baits and bits and pieces that I need for tomorrow's session, get home, get a shower and get straight in bed. I am absolutely shattered. I'm running on coffee and hope at the moment. But I've still enjoyed today's session, even though it's been a wet one and even though I'm absolutely shattered. And we've managed to tick so many species off the list. And don't forget, it's only day 2, so this is how the list's looking at the moment. So we've ticked quite a few species off. And yeah, I just want to say, if you are enjoying this series, please hit that subscribe button and also make sure you tick the bell icon. That way you won't miss another video in the series and you'll get notified every time I post. And if you've got any questions about anything that I've done today, as always, drop a comment in the comment section. Questions I try and get back to where I can. But folks, I just want to say thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video of the rod race for day 3.